Welcome to the smoke break. Today I'm going to talk about the hidden beauty and untapped potential of Google Analytics. So like and subscribe to this video and let's get right into it. Google Analytics. Everybody's heard about it, but most people still don't seem to have truly perceived its actual value. The real beauty of Google Analytics isn't about tracking how many people have been visiting your website, which is a rookie mistake. It isn't even about tracking how many leads or sales you've gotten. The true value of Google Analytics is in its powers of marketing attribution. Marketing attribution is the practice of evaluating the marketing touchpoints a consumer encounters on their path to purchase. The goal of attribution is to determine which channels and messages had the greatest impact on the decision to convert, or take the desired next step. Marketing attribution helps you create a data-driven marketing strategy instead of flying blind and going with your gut feeling. In order to pull this off, you need to set up something called conversion tracking. This is used for reporting on the actions that your website visitors take which result in whatever you'd consider to be a successful session. For example, common types of conversions include capturing new leads, making sales, and gaining newsletter subscribers. In Google Analytics, you can track conversions by using events, button clicks, page views, a duration of time, or a number of pages visited per session. To be on the safe side and avoid duplicates, I usually prefer events since pages can be refreshed. I usually consider time and page visits to be vanity metrics. Real commitment is shown by clicking on my calls to action. In Google Analytics, conversions are set up by using goals, which allow you to see your website's conversion rates once you have the goals properly tracked. A key aspect of goals is that you can assign categories and dollar values to them, which allows you to discover lots of key insights into which areas of your website are actually providing real business value. There's just one catch to getting all of the valuable data you want from Google Analytics. It doesn't come completely ready to give you all the info right out of the box. To do that, you're going to have to get your hands a little dirty. This means you need to find a web analytics pro. Why? Because they're talented in the areas you need most. Someone who has strong analytical skills and the JavaScript experience to bridge the gap between your website and your data. JavaScript helps them write custom code to extract and manipulate the info from your website. Once this is reflected in your reports, they can then analyze and make sense of what your data is saying. But they're not going to go in and write customized scripts for every element on your website, which is a fool's errand. This is where Google Tag Manager comes in. All they have to do is add a few lines of code to your website, then all of the rest can be handled inside of Google Tag Manager. It lets you create triggers to capture actions and tags for specific website elements to collect data whenever specific events happen on your website. For anything you want to accomplish outside of the standard functions, you can even insert custom JavaScript code to make it happen. What this looks like in practice is clean, efficient website tracking and data collection in a nice, simple, organized user interface. It's literally a tag, which means code manager. This means that you don't have to keep fiddling around with code inside of WordPress and risk potentially breaking your website, which is very easy to do and sometimes irreversible. You can even do some of the basics by yourself if you know some HTML and CSS. It's mostly just a matter of familiarizing yourself with the Google Tag Manager interface. But then what? Once your Google Tag Manager tracking is done, all the data is collected and fed into the reports you have in Google Analytics. You specifically want to check out your reports on conversions, goals, and events. Now you can start deriving the deeper insights from your website conversions, but you're not done yet. Outside of the basics, Google only knows as much as you've set up and tracked. This means that although it knows what your visitors are doing on your website, it doesn't always automatically know exactly where they came from or exactly how they got to your website in minute detail. For that, I'll explain how to get all the details about where your traffic is coming from and how they found you. Let's say that you've already set up your website goals and tracking to understand your website visitors. Now you need to know where all this traffic is coming from. In order to make this happen for specific links, you need to tag your website links with something called UTM Parameters. UTM parameters allow you to track the source, medium, content, and campaign info for your links. In other words, wherever you post these links, such as email newsletters, social media posts, they will show up in your Google Analytics reports with the attributes that you've chosen in your UTM parameters. This means that you'll be able to tell from your Google Analytics reports if a new lead came from a specific YouTube video or if your newsletter is driving most of your e-commerce sales. Google also does some of its tracking by default for untagged traffic, links that don't have UTM parameters. This is called the default channel grouping, which uses rules that are system-defined, meaning chosen automatically by Google, to classify your traffic sources. You can also make your own channel settings by selecting your own new channel grouping settings. The classifies traffic sources automatically based on the attributes of your traffic and the rules you set. Now that you can see which of your marketing efforts have been driving the most valuable conversions on your website, you have a key piece of info that will help inform your marketing strategy going forward. For example, say you've been testing a certain campaign idea for the past month. You're now armed with the data to show what's worked and what hasn't. This means that you can make a strong case to management as to why you should either pivot to a new idea or double down on your efforts. Even better, the Google Analytics reports can be shared with your whole organization via dashboards or emailed directly to specific people on a set schedule. Now everyone can see what you see, and your arguments are backed with hard data. So what next? Mission accomplished? Not quite. Even solid data isn't enough to convince some people. That's why you need to articulate the insights from your reports effectively in order to support your arguments and get key players on your side. A picture may be worth 1,000 words, but charts and tables don't speak for themselves. It's also critical to know that you're working with people who will actually allow themselves to be informed by the data. Otherwise, you're just going to waste your time. And that's not how professionals play the game. So even before you set up tracking on your website, you need to be heavily involved in consultation and consensus building to ensure that what you discover won't be immediately rejected or ignored. You have to reach some kind of agreement on what constitutes ground-level truth in the organization if you're going to work together effectively. Only when you have buy-in from the key decision-makers can you hope to make a positive impact on the business with your findings. If you have an online store, you're going to have to work a little bit harder to get the most out of Google Analytics, but it's worth it. You can use Google Tag Manager along with some custom JavaScript to set up tracking on your web store with reporting via Google Analytics Enhanced e-commerce. This allows you to access Google's built-in reports that go into fine detail on all the more advanced aspects of your product purchases and your sales funnel. Don't try this if you don't know how to code. Hire someone. This feature lets you see what's selling, which products sell the most, which campaigns are working, and more. You'll also see which channels are driving your sales. Is it the newsletter, the blog, our web chat, social media? Check the figures. This helps you with efficiency gains by allowing you to focus on what's already working. You can also track your progress as you try out new channels and strategies. This is one area where marketing can clearly demonstrate its direct impact on sales, instead of just getting credit for bringing in leads. In every field, there are a few experts that stand out. In my journey to learn Google Analytics in depth, there are 3. For the best step-by-step guides on implementation and explanations of advanced Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager configurations, Optimize Smart is my go-to guy. For the more complex tag implementations that require custom JavaScript coding in Google Tag Manager, I always go to Simo Ahava. And finally, for the best high-level digital marketing strategy frameworks, best practices, and approaches, I read Avinash Kaushik. Ever wanted to test out different ideas on your website to see what works best? Tired of being stuck with only A/B testing only 2 ideas at a time? Try Google Optimize. Google Optimize inserts a pixel, a few lines of JavaScript code, onto your website, which then lets you make changes and test up to 16 different variations at a time. Assuming you get enough traffic, you can eventually find out what works best in terms of driving conversions with results that are statistically significant, which means they're mathematically meaningful. This is great for rapidly testing different elements on your website and backing up your decisions with hard data, and not hunches, assumptions, or feelings. With the insights you gain from your Google Analytics conversion reports and your Google Optimize multivariate tests, you should now have enough know-how to feel comfortable investing in ads to drive more conversions. Think about it. You already know almost everything there is to know about your best online customers and your warmest leads. Why wouldn't you want to find more people just like them if there was a fast, easy, and profitable way to do it? This is where ads come in. The online ad space has gotten so advanced that in theory you can target almost any customer type you want. And with Facebook, Instagram ads, it can be really cheap if you do it right, sometimes less than $1 per lead. The main difference between Facebook and Google Ads is that Facebook helps you target a certain type of person to match their interests, whereas Google helps you target certain keywords to answer questions or respond to searches. Larry Kim, founder of WordStream and MobileMonkey, has shared some powerful strategies to use both of these ad platforms in unison for achieving outsized conversions for dirt cheap on his website. Reading data via Google Analytics tables is one thing, but have you ever wanted to literally see what people are doing on your website? There's a tool for that. Solutions like Hotjar and CrazyEgg allow you to see heat maps, where the aggregated areas of high activity actually glow on your website, along with actual, anonymous, screen recordings of individual web sessions. So if you're not analytically inclined and don't really want to get into reading the tea leaves of Google Analytics reports and you just want a nice overview of what's happening on your website, there's still hope for you. Just think about where you want your visitors to focus. See which areas they're actually focusing their attention on, and find ways to fix any issues, distractions that might be there. Heat maps and session recordings are also a good way to investigate failed sessions on your website. If you can combine this info along with your top search keywords, using Google Analytics or Google Ads reports, you can see where your website may be failing to satisfy user intent. If you see that someone comes on your website, moves the mouse around and quickly leaves without doing anything, which is a bounced session, something could be wrong. They're not seeing what they came for or getting what they expected to get. Dig through the data and make sure your top search terms are reflected on the right pages, with a clear, compelling call to action that's above the fold, because you don't want any confusion on your homepage or landing pages. That wraps up this quick intro to understanding how your web traffic gets converted into conversions by using Google Analytics along with other marketing tools. I hope that it's been informative and enlightening for you. Please like and subscribe to show your support for the channel so that I can keep creating more valuable content for you in these videos. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and have a